Good afternoon. My name is Edgar Johnson. I was fortunate to serve as the 12th Grand Polaris of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated from 1978 to 1982. I'm a member of Beta Phi Omega Alumni Chapter. I live in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. I've been asked by our regional secretary to address a couple of questions that we're dealing with, I think everyone is dealing with in the nation and the world regarding COVID-19. My first question was, what have you been doing since COVID-19 started? Well, I have been reflecting on the last 71 years of my life, what I've been able to do since I joined Iota Phi Theta Fraternity in April 23rd, 1969. I have been very happy and thrilled to have served in the fraternity. I've done this for 50 years, and on April 23rd of this month, I will celebrate my 51st anniversary as an active member of our fraternity. So I've been reflecting on what's happening in the country, how people are dealing with COVID-19, and most recently in the last several days, I've been very concerned what I've heard about how so many African Americans have died and have been affected by this dreadful disease. I think this is a time for all of us to take a good look at how we conduct our daily lives by making sure, in order to address stress, we're exercising, trying to eat good food, trying to reflect on positive things in our life. For me, by reading the Bible, I'm a Christian, and that helps me immensely. What do I understand about COVID-19? Well, I know this is a pandemic that we've experienced nothing like this in the last number of years. However, we had to deal with the Ebola and the SARS coronavirus that luckily did not affect the world as this one has. Third question was, have you been tested? Do you care to share your results? Unfortunately, in the greater Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, tests are not readily available, and one has to call their doctor first, get their permission, and then they're assigned to a specific testing location. So I have not been tested. Next question is, are you self-quarantined alone or with family and friends? My wife, Cynthia, I, and our daughter, Morgan, have been in the house together for the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks since this has started. And so it's just been us. My daughter, Lori, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren live very close to me, but we've not seen each other because we're trying to observe the social distancing order, as well as my son Scott, who lives very close. Are you supporting your community through running errands, cooking, assisting with other chores? Well, I've not. In that I'm 71, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, I have high blood pressure, and I'm on heart medication to lower my cholesterol. I thought it would be better if I not go out into the community, but I'm constantly praying for those without help. As a part of my December birthday club at my church, I have been calling members of my church to see how they're doing. And on a good note, one gentleman that I called 2 weeks ago had all the symptoms of coronavirus, and I called him back on Tuesday just to see how he was doing. He answered the phone, and he's doing well. God bless us. What have you learned about yourself since being quarantined? Well, I've learned that instead of being upset when people say things or being upset when friends who you depend on don't always come through, just to let it slide. It's really not that important. And I urge each of us, if you have had a run-in with someone, a family member or a friend, now that we have so much time on our hands, this is a perfect time to say, I'm sorry. Whatever we did in the past, I forgive you, and I hope you forgive me. Do you have family or friends that have tested positive for COVID-19? I don't have any family members. I have 4 siblings who are still alive. My 2 older brothers died a number of years ago of cancer, but I'm the youngest of 7, so I have 1 brother left who's 74, and then 3 sisters. They're all doing well. What have you learned about yourself since being quarantined? I think I've already addressed that. Is there any support that you will need? The only support I need is the constant prayers of my friends and associates and fraternity brothers and the good Lord. The Lord will take care of me. I rely on Philippians 4:10, which is one of my favorite verses, was also my father's favorite verse, which says, "Not an extent of what I contend for. I am comfortable in my present position, and that's where I will be." Is there any support that you will need? No, I really don't need any support from anyone. Pardon me, that was a phone call on my cell phone. I was trying to turn it off. Uh, the support I need right now is that, unfortunately, two fraternity brothers have died recently. Gary Washington from Beta Rho Omega just died last night from COVID-19. And one of my line brothers, Clifton Durant, who was 14 Alpha 69, better known to everyone as Chief Boogaloo, unfortunately died this morning. He had liver ailments and had been suffering for about a year. And I told his wife when she called us on Monday, I said, well, we'll pray for Cliff, but at this point in life, we just have to let God do what God does. What advice can you give to other brothers that may have tested negative or positive for COVID-19? The only advice I can give them is pray. God has all of us in the cleft of our hands, his hand rather, and I know he will make sure that whatever place we have to go, whether we're here or we'll have to go home to serve with the Lord, that we'll be content. Life will not be the same after COVID-19. What will your life look like after COVID-19? Well, I think I will be an individual who is more mindful of my surroundings, of my neighbors, of my friends, family, fraternity brothers, and church members. And I will try to reach out and do more in my church than I'm doing currently. I'm very active in my church, but I've had thoughts of joining the male chorus. I've been a little nervous about that. I don't have the same voice I had 50 years ago, but I'm going to give them the best that I have. So I plan to join the men's choir at Reed Temple AME Church in Glendale, Maryland. Thank you very much for this interview. I pray for each and every one of you. I pray for our Eastern Regional Polaris, Brother Steve Acoba, Brother Denzel Davis, our Regional Secretary, and of course for our Grand Vice Polaris, Sean Housen, and our Grand Polaris, Andre Manson. God bless you all.